Ladies and gentlemen, especially my gentlemen, on tonight I have some bad news for you. The bad news is the whole idea of the alpha wolf doesn't exist. The whole idea is, in fact, fraudulent. And I say that because I've been doing some research, right? And one of the things that I learned during my research is that in the wild, a wolf pack is a family. And this so called alpha, well, that's just the dad. It's the parents and their pups. There's no bloody duel for supremacy. There's no lone wolf clawing himself to the top. It's just a mom, a dad, and their kids working together to survive. And you know what? Here's the kicker. The scientists who made that alpha idea famous in the first place, who put it in a book that spread it, to the whole world, well, he spent the entire back half of his career trying to take it back, trying to get his entire book pulled off the shelves. Now, I know you're sitting there wondering, what do I supposed to do with this information, Shaun? Well, first thing I want you to do is I want you to sit with it. I also want to give you that information to let you know that upon further research, I've learned that every man out here who has been calling himself an alpha has been basically cosplaying a hierarchy that has never been real. It wasn't meant for humans, and hell, it wasn't even meant for animals. What's been happening is men have been basically dressing up as a creature that doesn't exist. And believe me when I say all this with love. But more importantly, I say this from a stance of a person that once fell for all this. But we're going to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, damn, it feels good to be back. Hello and welcome to another episode of This Could Get Ugly. Of course, I am your host, Mr. Shaun D. Upshaw. And as always, in which I will state every week, I am very appreciative of you taking time out to join me on tonight's episode, which is going to be a good one, right? It's centered around what the internet has lied about alpha males. Now, let me give you a retract. We've been doing this thing in arcs, right? Arc 1 has introduced you to a dating framework that I created, that I feel is the ultimate way to connect with someone. Now, if you couldn't get a hold of that, I introduced Arc 2 in order to maybe show you why you couldn't get a grasp on what I was trying to teach you in Arc 1 about the whole dating framework, right? I went into the depths of how family may play a part in your decision making, how you have dragged past mistakes, past ways you've been treated from family into your dating situations, and then further into your relationship situations if you're lucky to go beyond the dating. And I hope that, you learn something, because I'm going to be real with you. Just giving that information showed me some stuff about myself and what I might need to correct going forward. So I hope that blessed you as much as it blessed me. But on tonight, we are starting arc number 3. And arc number 3 centers around everything that we need to drop, that we have picked up along the way in order to move on to the next step. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Usually I do my episodes catering to both sides of the fence. This particular episode is catered toward the men. It's really catered toward the men because I believe our behavior, is the catalyst for everything that has been transpiring in today's dating scene. And I'm not blaming you. No, that's not what I'm doing. But what I plan to do is shine a light on something that I really feel we need to put down as men in order to move forward, because it's just been an entire lie the entire time. And of course, this is all my opinion and is backed by research, which you can, discover on your own. And I'm definitely by the end of the show going to tell you where I got it from. But this is where I'm coming from. So Arc 3 is all about debunking things that we have picked up as males. And I'm going to talk to the ladies throughout this entire series, believe me. But I mainly want to center on our men, because our men, whether, who want to agree with it or not, we are the head. We are the head. We set the tone, and we have to get this right in order for this to be right. We have to get the mind right for the heart to be right. That's just my personal opinion on everything. So again, tonight we're going to be talking about the internet lied to us about alpha males. Now, in the beginning, in the opening hook, I tried to explain to you how this entire research is fraudulent. It's fraudulent, right? And it's fraudulent because upon researching, I learned that they sold us an idea. But that idea don't even exist. The wolf idea don't even exist. And the fact that we have built a personality around it as men really bothers me. And it bothers me because, of course, I'm not going to talk about wolves this entire episode, right? The wolves are just a point that I wanted to make. It's actually a doorway. Here's the point I'm trying to get you to understand. The concept was wrong about wolves. I found that out. Popular scientist, I believe his name was, last name is Meck. I know that. I believe his name is David. I don't want to, it's two scientists, but one that made it popular. But anyway, I'm gonna give you the information. You can look it up for yourself at the end of the show. But anyway, it was wrong about animals. And then what happened is they tried to apply it to humans, where it became even more wrong. Because, in my opinion, at least wolves, right, are pack animals with a clear social structure. Human beings, on the other hand, are a little different. The bottom line is we're not ranking ourselves on some singular ladder from alpha to omega, right? What we're doing doesn't involve that. That's not how it works. That's not how status works. That's not how attraction works. That's not how any of it works. I hope you follow me with this. I want you to really hear me out, fellas. Ladies as well. I think you can get something out of this. So how did the debunked theory about captive animals become the foundation of an entire movement about how to be a man? That was a question that I had to pose to myself. And I believe that it survived not because it's true, but because it sells. I believe it survived not because it's true, but because it sells. Because a ranking gives an anxious man a place to stand. So if there's an alpha and there's a beta, then there's a ladder. And if there's a ladder, then maybe if I buy the right course, if I take the right supplement, hell, if I run the right routine, then maybe I get the opportunity to climb that ladder, right? The hierarchy isn't the fact. It's simply a product, and the anxiety is the customer, right? Which leads me to ask the real question, the one that lies underneath this entire thing, this entire idea of what an alpha male is. Why do I need a rank as a man to feel okay about myself in the first place? Now, I want you to hold on to that for a second. I want you to hold on to it because we're going to come back to that specific spot. Right now, what I want to do is talk about the performance trap that we as men get caught up in by falling victim to the idea of the alpha male. So many people have many ideas about masculinity, the uprising of it, the downfall of it. But let me give you my opinion. Let me throw my bid in the ring. Here's what actually happened to masculinity in my personal opinion. Somewhere along the line, it stopped being something you lived, and it became something that was broadcast. And that shift alone right there, that's where the disease, excuse me, tongue twister, was formed. That's my personal opinion. Now we can go back and forth on that, but I truly believe that in the midst of us as men stop living the whole masculine lifestyle and start broadcasting, the disease was born. And it caused a lot of problems. Because here's what I know about broadcasting. Broadcasting will always require an audience. So the performing man, the one running the alpha costume, as I would like to say, he's never actually in his own life. What he's actually doing is standing outside of it. He's standing outside of it, watching himself live it, checking the room for the reaction, always checking to see how certain things land that he says, who saw it, am I winning? Basically, he's not present anywhere. He's not present anywhere because he's too busy focusing on being witnessed. Now, in my opinion, this is what's called image management, and it's image management dressed up and sold as confidence. It's needing to win every exchange, even the little ones, even the ones that absolutely have nothing on the line, right? It's mistaking volume for authority. It's mistaking aggression for leadership, and is using attention like a drug. That's exactly what it's doing. Needing to be seen, needing to be witnessed, in order to feel like you even exist. That's what I feel like is going on with a lot of us men. Now, I'm not separating myself. As I said in the beginning, I went through this myself. I went through this myself. What I'm trying to do is just try to show you a different path. Now, you don't have to take this path, but this path is over here and it's well lit. Just imagine this light coming on my face is the path that's well lit. Well lit, excuse me. Come into the light, Caroline, as the old movie would say. Come into the light. Just hear me out. The entire point of this show tonight is to just invoke thought, right? Maybe even have a conversation with someone about this specific topic and see where it lands when you provide your opinion, they provide their opinion, and see if we can just coexist with this entire thing, right? So, like I said, this is nothing but just image management dressed up and sold to you as confidence. But here's the thing. Now, I said in Arc 1, I taught you about the dating framework. Now, everything I've given you up to the point, let's run it through the 3 I's that I taught you in. Let's use it as an example that I taught you in Arc 1, right? So the 3 I's, connection climbs, which I believe is connection that's what climbs the ladder, right? Information, interaction, intimacy. In my opinion, the way you're supposed to date is you start by trading information. Then over time, it deepens into a consistent interaction. And then and only then does it earn intimacy, which means closeness. Intimacy doesn't always mean sex, which I didn't already went over. But closeness, that's the goal. That's what you want to do. Now, here's the thing. The people or the men who are caught up in the whole alpha situation, the ones who are performing, let me tell you what happens if they were to run through the 3 I's, right? Now, the performing man, if he's on a ladder, in my opinion, he never gets off the first rung. And let me tell you why. Everything he offers is information, but the information is curated, right? It's a highlight reel. It's the wins, the body, the lifestyle, the flex. That's all you're going to get from these so-called alpha men who are performing for you. You will never get any real interaction because over time, it's a fear that he will get exposed. So that little gap is what keeps him from not going past the whole information phase. In intimacy, hell, you can just forget about that. Intimacy requires being seen. Seen. Like I see through my partner, I'm close to them. And if that's the case with the performing male, the costume that exists specifically, with the alpha male will not allow him to be seen. That's just my personal opinion. You can't be seen with a costume on. So here's the trap, and it's a brutal one. The wall that we were given as males, right, to build that, puts us on this pedestal to become an alpha male is the same wall that eventually will have us alone in the long run. And I want to be precise here because it's real easy to twist this into people just saying, well, that maybe not be the case. Men are just bad at connection. And in my opinion, that would be a lazy way to view this thing. Not only a lazy way, but it's wrong. Men are not bad at intimacy. Men are not bad at intimacy. They were just trained to build the exact wall that keeps them from exploring intimacy. I need you to understand that, right? So the people that handed this person the costume to put on to become this alpha male, from our fathers, our coaches, movie characters, hell, an entire culture. The people that give us this are the same people that make fun of us when we can't move past certain characteristics that this alpha male thing brings into us. While we're alone, we can't get past it. And they want to talk about why we're alone. But they are the ones that handed us this information. It's like, it's tricky. So what I want to do is I want to be very, very precise here because it's a setup. And I want you to know it's a setup. That's the whole purpose for this show, to understand that it's a setup. Because they handed us the costume, then they mocked us for having the wall up, not being able to get past the information or the curated information that we give to people due to the fact that we got this alpha costume on. Now, here's where I'm going to surprise you, right? Now, I've been talking about the alpha male up to this point, and I believe a lot of you think that I'm going to say the opposite of this alpha thing, that loud guys are secretly weak and quiet stoic guys are the real strong ones. Well, that's not what I'm going to say. Because if I do say that, it's basically just flipping the same dumb stereotype over. The truth is, this whole entire thing was never about volume. Loud isn't weak, quiet isn't strong. There are, believe it or not, there are loud men who are completely regulated. I want you to understand it. Completely regulated, totally solid, but they just naturally have big personalities. I have these type of people in my circle. And simply, and on the flip side, there are quiet men, right? Who are quiet out of fear. Has nothing to do with them being strong. Quiet out of fear, out of avoidance, out of terror of being challenged or seen. And like I said, the volume tells you nothing. The real variable here, the only thing that matters, in my opinion, is regulation. Now, see, with regulation, it poses a question. Is my behavior as a man being chosen or is it driven? Now, as a man, we have to ask ourselves this specific question. Is the behavior chosen or is it driven? Am I speaking up because it actually serves me in the moment or because silence makes me feel invisible? Am I calm because I'm genuinely just a settled person inside? Or am I quiet because I'm avoiding something that I'm scared of? I want you to understand something. These are two different types of men, right? That can do the exact thing, say the same words, make the same moves, one from strength and one from fear. What I want you to understand is the behavior will always look identical. what's underneath is the opposite. I used to tell people all the time, if you want to know the difference between people and how to decipher between people, or men specifically, because I've told women this, we are such um, creatures of habit that anything that we do oftentimes will come out looking the same. Basically, how you judge a person is by the end results, not by how it starts. You just have to have enough patience to see it through. And that's ultimately what determines the difference between a person that's about their business and a person that is not, or a man that is about their business, ladies, and a man that is not. That's what I want you to understand. So let me clean this up. Let me draw it clean for you. In my opinion, I believe the regulated man acts on purpose. I believe that he can tolerate being wrong. I believe he can tolerate being unseen. I believe the regulated man can sit in a room and be disagreed with and not come apart in no kind of way. Now, on the other hand, the dysregulated man, I believe he acts on impulse. I believe he needs the room to confirm he exists. He needs to win. He needs the last word. He needs the reaction, or he doesn't feel seen. As I said, to make this simple, the question was never how loud, because this is not about volume with this alpha male thing and this beta male thing. It's not about volume. It's never about how loud. It's whether you're driving or you being driven. Now, I want to show you a trick here. I want to give you some game. I believe that once I tell you this, once I show you this, you can't unsee it. And once I tell you, you can't unhear it. I want you to look at what the honest version of becoming a real man actually has on that list. I've seen it from being emotional, having emotional control, consistency, accountability, integrity, handling pressure without falling apart, having clear communication. And that typically be the list for, so-called being the real man, right? That's what they're really selling underneath all the branding. Now, I want you to notice something about this list. And this, of course, is my opinion. One thing about this list, or everything on this list, is it's not masculine. It's not catered towards just straight masculinity. In fact, in my opinion, and I've always stood on this, and I'm going to always stand 10 toes on it, these are just traits of a grown adult, if you ask me. A mature human being. In fact, I believe your mother can have every single one of these traits. I believe your grandmother can have every single one of these traits. I mean, let's look at it. Again, emotional control, accountability, integrity, handling pressure. Those aren't the marks of a man or men, ladies and gentlemen. That's the mark of a damn grown-up. That's the mark of a damn grown-up. So when somebody takes, in my opinion, when somebody takes basic emotional maturity, wraps it up, and sells it back to you as alpha, they're not teaching you how to be a man, fellas. They're teaching you how to grow up. And what they're doing is charging a premium for that information. And they charging you a premium by pretending it's some secret that only men can unlock, like it's some masculine ancient code or something along those lines. But in my opinion, as I said, it's just simple adulthood. Can we be honest about that? It's just these things, these traits are just simple adulthood. That's all it is. Stuff that we have to add to us in order to be able to sustain out here in the world, to excel in the world, to take ourselves to the next level. That's all it is. So my thing is, why wrap it all up in masculinity stuff? Why the wolves? Why the apex predators? Why the grind mindset in order to get people to do this or to get men to do this, right? I'll tell you why. And it's simple. Because truth doesn't sell. Again, truth doesn't sell. Think about this. If I get on here and tell you, look, ladies and gentlemen, you need to be emotionally mature, that's going to move zero product. In fact, my listens probably will go down. Let's be honest. Let's be honest here. That's exactly what's going to happen. Truth never sells. It's a pill that everybody claim to want, but not everyone can swallow. That's what it is. But here's the thing. If I wrap it in, say, in order for you to be an apex predator, in order for you to be an alpha wolf, in order for you to have this type of mentality, you need to do this in order to do this. Now, see, that alone, that right there, that's going to sell. Not only is it going to sell courses, it's going to sell supplements, it's going to sell seminars, it's going to sell masterminds. Hell, it's going to sell 12-week programs. I'm going to be in business because, see, you know, that masculinity rapper, right, was never the lesson. The rapper is, in my opinion, is strictly the marketing. So fellas, listen to me when I'm saying something. This shit that we on right now of trying to puff our chests out to see who the biggest dog in the yard, dude, it's pointless. It's pointless. We need to put this mess down and become, as I said, more emotional. We need to gain more emotional control. We need to have more consistency. We need to have accountability, which is high on my list. We need to gain integrity. We need to be able to handle pressure without falling apart. That's a big one. But most importantly, we need to learn how to have clear communication. Because in my opinion, that's not only the biggest sign to becoming an adult. It's the biggest sign to becoming a man, and it's the biggest sign that's going to lead you to leading your family and the people who look up to you. It's going to be real. That's as real as it's going to get, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we need. So I know right now, I know you guys are probably like, this fool, Shaun, what is he talking about? Well, let me tell you what I'm talking about, because I already know this is not an easy listen. But I told you it wasn't going to be an easy listen because it's catered towards one particular genre. It's catered towards one particular gender, rather. Genre, gender, it's all the same. It's for men. I have to get on y'all. Because men, look, we leading women and other men astray. This alpha thing has become so crazy that now we even have women believing that they are alpha females. What the hell does that mean? What the hell is an alpha female? Because the only results I've seen from being an alpha female or you claiming to be an alpha female is just you being loud. You talking over people trying to get your point across. Basically, you taking the traits that we have failed as men picking up and you applying it to your life. If you're making decisions that benefit you, that put you in a certain level, congratulations. You are a damn adult. You are not an alpha woman. Same for men. If you're making decisions that benefit you, congratulations. You are not an alpha male. You are a grown adult. We got to stop labeling this BS. We got to stop giving it life because it's ruining us. And to be honest with you, we only picking this mess up because we never address the real issues. That's the only reason we are picking this mess up. It's the only reason we just went through the entire arc into talking about family, because we need to address the mess. Because this stuff that I'm talking about now is a result of not addressing the mess. And it's leaving us in terrible spots. It's leaving us in terrible spots. And we're not leading anybody anywhere. That's why I got to get on your ass tonight, fellas. This idea is fraudulent. Fraudulent. We need to grow up. The internet is lying to us about what a man is supposed to be. It's not about performance. It's not about performance. Stop performing. I'm not going to yell at you. Stop performing. It's not what it's about. Listen, man. For my people, for my fellas anyway, right? That can sit up here and listen and say, well, I'm not the alpha man that Shaun talking about. I'm actually the opposite. I do this, do this. Let me tell you something. Be careful. Pump your brakes for a second. Pump your brakes for a second. Because if you felt just a little surge of superiority, just due to the fact that you feel I'm not talking to you, if you ranked yourself above these other men that I'm talking about concerning the alpha male, then guess what? You're on the same drug, just a different one. My entire point is there is no way you can rank yourself above the alpha male just because everything that I'm saying right now doesn't apply to you. See, I understand that the alpha male ranks themselves by flexing. Well, guess what? If you're doing this, if you're saying you're better because you're not, because you can't, coincide with anything that I'm talking about, your actions, just because they showing their flex doesn't mean that you're not showing flexing your self-awareness. It's the same drug. So that's why I need you to pump your brakes. I need you to listen. Just like I need the alpha males to listen, I need you to listen. The entire point of this is, as men, we don't need to rank ourselves. We just need to be men and men of actions. That shit don't have nothing to do with ranking. It has everything to do with standing on your word, performing your actions, showing up, consistently. Having integrity, being accountable, being responsible, being a grown-ass man or a grown adult for the ladies that want to be involved in this. That's what it's about. It's going to be real. Let me give you something. Let me tell you how I even arrived at this show, right? Based on Arc 2, you already know I've explained to you the relationship I had with my father. He wasn't around, so I didn't get the opportunity to be introduced to an identity. And this happens for a lot of us as men or young men growing up into men. We have no solidified male figure around to introduce us to an identity. Well, an identity that involves all the necessary things to grow up into a responsible adult. So what happens is we tend to create these personas. And that's exactly what happened to me. Now, here's the thing with me. I created a lot of personas, but I created these personas and put them on top of the core of who I am. So what are you saying, Shaun? What I'm saying is a lot of stuff about me back then, I still have with me today. So the fact that I speak up, which is what I'm doing with this show right now. It's the fact that I call out BS, which is what I'm doing with this show right now. That is the core of me. But what happened is when you don't have anyone around teaching you how to use that in the right way, then you create these personas and you learn how to do it the wrong way, which is what allowed me to pick up the whole alpha male persona, which is what had me out here trying to go chest to chest, trying to prove the validity of my manhood, which in reality, it was just nothing but just unregulated emotion, trying to prove a point. I'm a man. I'm worth this. You don't talk to me like that. Nobody has time for all that. It's wasted energy. And it's wasted emotion that can actually take a left and lead your life in a whole different direction if you're not careful. That's my story. And that's exactly why I wanted to do this show tonight. I wanted to kick off this first episode of this arc by debunking the theory of the alpha male, because we need to shed it. And if we can get this down tonight, if we can shed this alpha male crap, or trying to say he's an alpha, he's a beta, if we can just find that path down the middle to say this is a man, then maybe you would be in position to listen to everything that I'm going to tell you throughout this entire arc starting next week. But I believe it starts here. Because, see, I'm going to be real with you. I started with this topic because it's the alpha male that will cause you to ignore me. It's the alpha male within you that will cause you to ignore me, ignore what I'm saying, and say, he don't know what he's talking about. I am an alpha male. I do what I do. And that's fine. That's the life you want to live. I'll catch you when I catch you, when you finally realize that at the end of the day, it's all a bunch of BS that we were sold. I'll catch you at the end. I'll still be here for you. I promise you that. But I have to give you this specific topic because I'm tired of what I'm seeing out here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely tired of what I'm seeing. Got males going back and forth with each other over nonsense. I'm supposed to be helping my brother grow, right or wrong. Now, I haven't always been on my Martin Luther King stuff, but I had a cousin of mine tell me I need to be more Martin Luther King, less Malcolm X. Not saying I need to get rid of Malcolm X, than Malcolm X in me, because sometimes you need to stand on what you need to stand on. But basically, I need to be more peaceful in my approach with a lot of things. And before I learned that the alpha male situation was a whole fictitious thing, it was 100% Malcolm. My cousin said something to me the other day. We were sitting there talking. We was actually he was sitting there telling me how he thought I was going to go back and forth with somebody because that's what I used to do, just to prove a point, put my chest out. You don't talk to me like that, whatever the case may be. Say he was shocked that I didn't respond. But then he turned it around and said, now, I think he's a person that gets it. He turned around and said, it actually takes a stronger man to do what you did than to actually go back and forth. He don't know, but that thought sat with me for a while. Because if I was still in that whole alpha male phase of doing things and performing, then me and the guy that we was going back and forth with, or attempting to go back and forth with me, it would have been a whole argument that could have went left. Because those who know me, they know I'm a person that I believe always have to have the last word. Always. You say something, I'm going to say something else. You say something low, I'm going to go to hell and party with the devil and his angels. That's how it used to be for me. And I'm saying that I'm completely over it because sometimes people get the best of me. But now it's to the point now where if I do go down that road, when I do put on that costume or that alpha male costume and I'm going back and forth with someone, by the time I get home and take it off, I'm thinking clearly now. And I have to do it a different way. And I realized the mistake I made in even putting on the costume and dealing with a situation with that costume on. Because ultimately, for me, being the man that I am today going forward, because like I said, I'm nowhere near the man I want to be, but being the man today and going towards where I want to be is the position that I want to be in. It's the position I want for you, fellas. I want growth. I'm not trying to be on my holy man stuff here, but I want growth. We're falling by the wayside. Our leadership is falling by the wayside. We're falling victims to just entertaining people versus actually giving them the knowledge that they need in order to go forward. We're making all types of excuses why we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. It's not how it's supposed to be. It's not how it's supposed to be. So here's what I want you to do. Here's some actual work that I want you to do. And I hope that you do it. I hope that me writing this down, I wasn't writing it down in vain. I'm hoping that you actually take this and you actually apply it just to see if it works for you. So here's an assignment for you. And it's very simple. Now, I want you to keep in mind when I say it's simple, but it's not easy. So I want you to do a self-test, right? I call it, well, I ain't going to tell you what. Well, I call it a witness check. A little corny, I know. But here's the first thing I want you to do. Before you send a text, before you post anything on social media, before you raise your voice, before you drop a flex, make a move in the alpha male or the so-called alpha male costume, I want you to ask yourself one question. Would I still do this if no one ever know I did it? Would I still do this if no one would ever know I did it? That's it. If the answer is yes, then it's probably coming from you, from something real. But if the answer is no, if the entire point was the witness, the audience, the credit, then it's a performance. That's what it is. And you just caught up. Now, you don't even have to stop. I'm not telling you to stop. You just have to stop lying to yourself about why you're doing exactly what you're doing at this particular moment. That's all I want you to understand. The catching of this is the whole skill I want you to pick up on. The catching of who you are and why you do what you do is what I'm trying to drive home here. Evaluate your actions, fellas. Let's move on to the next thing. I want you to pick one arena where you perform, whether it's the gym, a group chat, dates, work meetings, wherever you catch yourself broadcasting. Pick one. For 7 days, I want you to run that witness check, that question I just asked you. That's all. Don't even try to fix anything. Just notice it and catch it. See, this is all simple. I just want you to notice it and catch it. On the third day, once a day, deliberately do one regulated thing with zero audience. A kindness that nobody sees, a standard you hold when no one's watching, an honest answer that earns you nothing. No points, no credit, no witness. Just do that one a day. 4, at the end of the week, ask yourself this: where in my life am I most myself when no one is looking? And then once you get that answer, you can build from there. Because that's the man, that right there is the man that doesn't wear the costume. That's where I'm trying to get you to go with this thing. You have to be honest with yourself. This is why this show is called This Could Get Ugly. This could get ugly because anytime you are dealing with yourself, evaluating yourself, changing yourself, calling yourself out, being accountable, being responsible, having some regulation or adding regulation, it's going to get ugly before it gets pretty. Now, I know a lot of people probably not going to like the show. I don't give a damn. I had to say it because these two eyes have been seeing a lot of BS when it comes to us as men. I want you to consider this conversation, fellas, a round table for us and women just get to witness it. Hell, I'm hoping some of the ladies, if you're on tonight, hell, have the conversation with your man. I'm not trying to, plug the show, but yeah, tell him about the show. Get him on here to listen. See if anything that I'm saying resonates within him to at least have the conversation. Get him to understand at least where I'm coming from. That the whole alpha beta thing is some BS. That it's all about becoming grown, responsible adults. Let's start there. If we can start there, I believe that we go on places. So in closing, I want to bring this home. The goal was never to become an alpha because, like I said, in the beginning, there was no such animal. Not in the wild, not in you. It doesn't exist. The whole goal was to become someone who doesn't need to rank themselves in order to feel real. That's my entire goal here, fellas. Someone who's the same man in the room and the same man out of it. The same man, whether anybody's watching or not, and it's not loud and it's not quiet. Just true. You see, I want you to understand that you don't have to win in the jungle. There was never a jungle. You were never in one. All you have to do is just stop performing long enough to find out who's actually under that costume. Discover your identity, gentlemen and ladies, for those who call themselves an alpha. Discover your identity. Take off the costume, the persona costume, and discover your identity. Because if you realize that the costume has been costing you people, great people, benefits, rewards, then I want you to take it off, because the next conversation we're going to have next week is going to be needed. It's going to be needed. And you're going to understand where we're going with this. Because next week we're going to be talking about how one hides behind. And I told you this entire arc is going to be concerning men. And let me tell you, I'm only giving this from a man perspective because I'm not a woman. Now, I'm not saying there's not going to be some things in here that women can learn from, but fellas, this entire arc is going to be for us, because we need to debunk a lot of this shit before we go into the next phase of everything. Like I said, next week's episode is going to talk about one that hides behind a hard day's work and a full bank account. And we're going to address the lie that says provision is love. We are going to address the lie that says provision is love. That's where we go next. I want you to understand that taking off the costume was step one. Learning how connection actually gets built rung by rung, well, that's where the real work is. And that's what the next few episodes in this particular arc will talk about. So let's talk about it. I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.